Average gamers everywhere, it's the Irate Pirate. And I'm a little irritated, which means somebody's gotta die. Alright, let me tell you what happened. Recently, a couple groups in the Naval Action community have decided that it would be fun to try and gank my clan. And yesterday, they made a mistake. They attacked a basic lynx with a second rate. To which Zanza, which is my clan, responded with a second rate. They then put a La Renommée, which is a 6 rate, into the fight, and we dumped in a La Requin. Now, I don't know if you are aware of the reputation of Zanza and Lizard clans, but we are pretty darn good at 6 rates. And some of us can handle our line ships as well. So, that clan, I believe it was AC/DC, who is starring in our next 2 videos here. That clan learned a little lesson about combat, to the extent that they quit. After that fight, they logged off, those 2 players, which was not our intention. We just actually had a fair fight and we mopped the floor with them. But hey, I've had good players mop the floor with me, so it's all fair. Now, this fight happened because after I killed a second rate, pretty much solo, my teammate Team J just wiped the floor with the La Renommée driver. He decimated him, even though the La Renommée is a superior ship. This game is not so much skill-based as gear-based as it is skill-based. If you don't know your ship and you aren't good at shooting, you're not gonna do well regardless of how much gear you have. But anyway, I killed the second rate and instantly jumped to, I think, top 8 PvP leaderboard. And then in a later discussion in global Discord, somebody started making fun of me and kind of telling me that I wasn't any good and the people I was fighting weren't any good, and they were clearly better. Now, this player happened to be CFS, and if you know CFS, they have some really good players in their team, but most of them are just gankers. But CFS has been breaking Naval Action's economy for years. There is a high chance that any CFS player you fight, regardless of their skill level, is running the best books, the best upgrades they can get. Okay, they are stacking the deck in their favor to ensure that they can give you a beatdown in global about how good of a PvPer they are, even though they're being carried by a 30 to 40% advantage over you. There's nothing wrong with what CFS does. That's just smart. The problem is, when you come to a player like me, who has primarily killed every single player I've ever killed using seasoned woods, which has never been top quality, and regular upgrades that were obtainable. Okay? There's skill, and then there's gear. And I have always done my PvP with inferior gear. And I've had to compensate. I've had to learn to not make mistakes. And mistakes is what we're going to talk about here. So, Iceberg 63 has the wind. I'm in Owasso. He's in a Christian. The Christian has more crew than me, more hit points than my Wassa, and way more firepower. I mean, he has the advantage. Instead of pressing that advantage, his opening move is to chain my sails. My opening move, damage to his hull. Now, this is just his first mistake. If your primary strategy is throw chain until you have no chain, you're gonna sink with all your chain out of your hold. You need to get a better toolbox than just I can throw chain at your sails. Alright, now what I'm doing here is, since I'm downwind, I'm not trying to take the wind, I'm just turning the ship around. I have chain loaded. There's nothing wrong with throwing chain, but you need to throw something other than chain, because I'm also repairing my sail damage. I have no hull damage hit, okay? I don't need to repair my hull. He's only damaged my sails, so I don't have to make a choice between hull damage or sail damage. He's about to. In fact, Iceberg's gonna have to... You only get one repair. It's sail or hull. My strategy is to force every player I meet to make that choice. I hardly ever load 2 broadsides of chain, because I want to do both damage to you. I want you to be forced between repping your sail or repping your hull, because once I get you to that point, I know I can work the other one over. So you can repair your hull, and I'll take you down to 60-50% sail, or you can repair your sail, and I'll keep sinking you. That's PvP. And guys, it's not that hard. I am not an elite PvPer. The issue that got me a little irritated yesterday is I compare myself to people like Hammy, Lick, Tack, Hedgerald, Dr. Shaky Hands, Cletus Spuckler. The list goes on and on and on. People who have spent far more time are far, far better PvPers than I probably will ever be. I compare myself to them. They fought me, they taught me, and at best I only measured up as average to them. However, I was apparently good enough for them to want to sail with me, have me on their team, have me in their clan, so I don't know what you want to make of that. The issue, though, is while I am only average in comparison to them, the game population continues to dwindle, which means me being an average gamer and primarily a solo PvPer makes me more and more of an elite level, because I'm comparing to what we used to have. You guys are comparing to what we have now. And most of you haven't got a clue how scary, dangerous people really were in this game. You look up to people like Raxius. Well, I got news for you. I started leading RVR in 2023, and in 2024 I was beating Raxius' butt all over the field, both in open world and in port battles. I'm sorry. You can look up to anyone you want, but you better look out for me if that's your idol. So, let's get back to what Iceberg's doing. He has decided that running is going to be his strategy. He's running straight downwind, so now I have the wind, and he's chaining me with his 4 butt guns. It's just a little problem. Awasa has 6 bow guns, so you can do the math there. So he's running, and actually you're gonna see me open the map up and check. He's actually pulling away. You see the lines going to the left? If you have to go back and look at that real slow, but you click details there, it gives you a graph of his health. If the lines are going to the left, he's pulling away. If the lines are going to the right, I'm gaining. That's a little trick. So he's going straight downwind, producing a big Christian stern to my broadside. And I'm just gonna farm some damage. Now here's the first mistake Iceberg made. He had the wind on me. He had the crew advantage on me. He had the firepower advantage on me. He had the hit point advantage on me. And that actually meant something until he put himself in this position downwind of me. Because the advantage a Christian, the advantage a Wassa has, is I turn so much faster than him. Being slow and holding the wind is not a problem for a Christian until you let me have your stern. That's just how it works. You need to understand the strengths of your ship. The first thing Iceberg should have done is he should have turned into me and boarded me. I would most likely have survived because I would disengage, but I would have, 300 less crew. If he was good at boarding, then maybe he would have won. But me without 300 crew, that would be a problem. So here's some chain just to encourage Iceberg to quit running. And like I said, you gotta throw chain strategically. He's dropped me 94% with his butt guns, but I mean, this Wassa that I'm running, it's nothing special. I think it's teak, so it's not very fast. That's the AI that he was working on chaining down. So I know, he's fighting 2v1, but honestly guys, as you're gonna see in the next fight, AI don't help you nearly as much as people think they do. Not in dispatch. So, call me a seal clubber if you want, but I didn't want him escaping to port just because some T-Lynx pops out and says, hey, there's a pirate on your battle. So, he over BR'd, meaning his Christian versus the Trink, leaves the battle open 20 minutes. And as you saw, I came in at like 1 hour 25, so the battle had been going about 5 minutes. He wasn't that damaged. So the advantage is still in his favor. Now Iceberg's just made his second fatal mistake. He has turned his ship, for whatever reason, across the wind. You can't do that. If you're trying to escape, which is the only strategy I saw him going for with a butt gun chain and running straight downwind, you don't get to escape if you suddenly turn across the wind. Let me bring up a profile so that I can explain this better. The Christian's best point of sail is with the wind slightly off its quarter. Based off the wind on my ship, Iceberg is more like here. Now this may seem like a small detail, but when you're solo PvPing, whether you want to or not, little details like this make a major difference. And you really need to go into the Naval Action map and study your ship's strengths and weaknesses versus other ships' strengths and weaknesses. And Iceberg 63 here is about to turn and engage me because he's, I guess, decided he's not gonna escape, which is a good assessment. The big thing Iceberg's gonna learn over the course of this battle is you never want to let a more agile third rate get upwind of you. You want to hold the wind, control the wind, and dictate how you fight. Because I'm at the disadvantage. Now that said, I will kill you from a downwind position. I've had to do it. I've had to learn how to do it. So you really need to understand what the wind advantage means, and you need to have a good strategy for fighting from that position. You're not going to escape a fight from an upwind position, but you might win it if you do things right. Alright, Iceberg's opened up with ball, and it looks like he's going to fight. See what I'm doing? He has more firepower, more hit points, more everything, except for turn rate. I have a superior turn rate. I also have a superior speed climbing the wind. This is an advantage you're going to see on my next fight. And Iceberg's trying to rate me. Now, if I was a Laotian, that maneuver might have worked. But there's some ships that are just hard to bow rake. And bow raking isn't easy for anybody. I struggle at bow raking. I have no idea what the AI is shooting at. Maybe he's shooting chain, I don't know. But I have a Christian just scissoring back and forth while he runs downwind. The most dangerous thing about stern raking is the fact that he's 70% sail, I'm 100% sail, and I'm getting closer to him. That is the most dangerous thing going on here. So just think about that and figure out how you can turn the tables on a player like me. Because Iceberg's bouncing a lot of shots off my teak hull. And he's not really getting anywhere for his trouble. Another rake. He's about half structure. He's losing this game really fast. But that's, you know, with his depleted sail, with the fact that he's a Christian and I'm a Wassa, he's just gonna have a hard time keeping me from doing this. So if you're in this position ever, you need to come to an assessment very quickly that the Wassa wants to get on your tail. The last thing I want to do is shoot you broadside to broadside. I don't win in that fight. I have less hit points, I have less firepower. Those are the strengths of a Christian, a Laotian, a Labak, a Pavel, an Implacable. Anything bigger than a Wassa, you need to fight with your strength. And a turn fight versus a Wassa, you're not going to do that in a Christian or a larger ship. You're just not winning. That's the Wassa's strength. So, my advice to Iceberg would be, don't try. Don't try to compete with a Wassa the way a Wassa wants to play the game. You need to figure out another strategy. So, that's just PvP. One of the best things that a player named Lord Hearts ever told me. He was the first clan leader that I actually had. Now the guy has become a really obnoxious person, but he did give me one good advice back in 2019. And that was, watch your enemy and adapt. If they want to board you, stay at range. If they want to turn fight with you, don't. You need to not play the game that they want to play. If you play the way I want to play, if you let me turn fight, well, this is what happens. So, remember I said the most dangerous thing about raking is I'd get close? Yeah. At this point, Iceberg has one option. Board me. I'm shearing off because I don't want to get boarded. He's going to shoot, he's going to bounce, get a few hits, but most of them just bounce. So, I'm going to turn. I'm not going to get another rake, I don't think. Instead, I'm just going to put it through his weakened side. So the way repairs work is, even if you have really good bonuses, I love the carronade shots, but even if you have carpenters and you have all the best repair perks, you don't get very much structure repair back. So rakes are very, very devastating right now. I don't know why Zazov thinks he needs to make them more devastating. They're just fine where they are. But that's Zazov. He's a clear genius that knows this game better than everyone else who plays the game and actually sinks players. Alright, so I said the Wasser had a very good upwind profile. You're about to see me do a very dangerous maneuver. And this is the final mistake that Iceberg makes. If you ever see a player doing what I'm doing, take advantage of it. Alright, so he's turning. I see his sails turning, and that tells me, uh-oh. And I'm aware that he's turning into me, and if he can, he'll be able to board me. So I'm getting my prep up in case I have to disengage, because there's no reason. Uh-oh. Why is he going straight? He should have turned into me, backed, or just backed up. Something. Anything. Get me into boarding somehow. I'm at 4.4 knots though, and that's what Awasa does really good. Now I only get 4 cannonball hits, so oh well. He's already sinking. The AI is going to put some rounds into him. The big deal for me is I didn't get boarded. He didn't press into me, stop me, and board me, which would have been hard to get out of. Even if I disengaged in 4 rounds, I would have lost 300 crew, and I'd be in the wind. So chances are he could have boarded me again, maybe killed me, kept his ship, captured my ship. So what I did there was really dangerous. It was very calculated and honestly probably stupid. I shouldn't have done that move. Looking back on it, I didn't need to do the move, but I'm just an average PvPer. So I make mistakes too. And once again, he's shooting and bouncing. Like I said, the person that wins most solo PvP fights is the guy who makes fewer mistakes. Anyway, I want to say good fight to Iceberg 63 here. I appreciate that he didn't come into global after this and start whining and complaining. So he was a good sport about it. He got jumped by me, a pirate with a lot of PvP skill. This isn't something that he enjoys. He doesn't want to be a PvPer, and it's a little unfair that he has to fight me and an AI. However, he did tag an AI with considerably less battle rating than his ship. So he set this fight up. That leaves the battle open for 20 minutes for a player like me to pop a logbook, find your battle, come in and basically 2v1 you. Now I did get the kill, and I'm just wondering, do I escape the port with the win, or do I stay out and chance being ganked? So I'm just gonna let the footage play for a bit, because I want you to see how the next fight sets up. I'm immediately looking around. I don't see anyone sitting on the battle instantly trying to camp me. Check the port and oh, hey, what's this? This is a redoutable. Sorry to all the French, I butcher it. Love French, but I'm still not good at it. A redoutable is coming off the docks. He has a fleet ship. Fleet ship is a Wappen von Hamburg. Ooh, interesting. So, two things. I'm aware that I just sank Iceberg 63. He is most likely in that port. He most likely can get into a ship. This probably isn't Iceberg 63. It does take a little bit to get your ship geared up and equipped. So I'm aware that Iceberg's in that port and he can come out. And if I'm going to fight this guy, I need to get the battle started before Iceberg comes out in something else. I suspect there were two battles here when I showed up at the port, and I suspect this is the other guy. So, let's see. Oh yes, it's Demore. Okay, so not Iceberg. And Iceberg, if he's hoping to join Demore in this fight, Iceberg needed to get undocked before I started this battle, because there is a undock timer when you leave a port. You can't just undock after a battle is started and go out and join a fight. And let me explain the battle rating here. My WASA is 125 BR. The redoutable is, I think, 148. The Wappen over there is another 100 or so. I don't know exactly. The point is, the battle rating is strongly in his favor. So, Iceberg 63 has to get undocked before the battle starts if he wants to join. Because that undock timer, that 2-minute undock timer, is going to lock him out. You need to start paying attention in your PvE if you don't want me doing what I just did to Iceberg. If you don't want that to happen to you, learn to lock your battle ratings. You need to be fighting a fleet of smaller ships that are approximately your battle rating, or be fighting a ship that is approximately your battle rating. Now there's two things to know. If you fight a larger ship, like a Vasa, if you fight a victory in a Vasa, that locks anyone from joining the victory's side because you're smaller. However, it still stays on the map for 20 minutes, and I can see that in a logbook. It shows BR 125 to, what is it, 122, 24, something like that. And it leaves your battle, your side open for 20 minutes. So I can find you on the map with a logbook and camp your fight. The other tip, if you don't want to be found in naval action and end up fighting a solo PvPer like me or a gank squad, What you need to do is you need to balance your BRs so that they are within 10% of each other. This will prevent anyone from joining your side. It will prevent anyone from joining their side. And most importantly, it disappears the battle from the map. There will be no markers in front of a port. There will be no open world markers of your fight. You will be invisible to the community. I can't pop a logbook. I can't be sailing by and see you and go, ooh, there's a British. I can't do that. So that's what you want to do, is learn to set your battles and your fights so that you're not easy to get. Okay? This is all stuff that Mr. Zazov the Genius should be explaining to players, these mechanics, but Naval Action has long had the premise that they prefer players to discover the mechanics for themselves. Hence why I do these clinic videos. I get really tired of teaching player after player after player these mechanics. I've taught hundreds of players these mechanics. They've since quit the game. There's new players who don't know them. My YouTube is going to have to be the way you learn. If you don't watch the YouTubes, if you don't invest time in learning the game, then you're just going to be at my mercy whenever I find you. Sorry. I'll put these. Subscribe to the channel, like the channel. I'll give you these clinical details here. I'm just, after so much effort put into I have built player group after player group and trained players upon players. The basics that every player needs to know. And then Zazov pulls a stunt like he's doing now, which he does it every 3 to 6 months. And he kills all enthusiasm for the game, and all those people that I trained and that clan that I built disappears because, well, Zazov does a disastrous update and no one wants to play Naval Action. And so all my hundreds of hours that I spent training 10, 15 people and getting them all together goes out the drain. So I've decided that I'll just do a YouTube channel, and that's it. On top of that, Mr. Zazov decided years ago he didn't want to listen to my suggestions, so he banned me from his website forum. He banned me from his official Discord, which is kind of mean because I don't get update news. I can't weigh in on his plans. I can't give him information. But that's okay. You can't ban me from YouTube, and I'll give Zazov my opinions here. Okay, so this fight is different. D-Moore is in Irate. He does have the Wappen, but as you can see, that Wappen is stupid. AI are stupid. They've always been stupid. Fleet AI are stupider than open world AI. I wish they were smarter, but hey, Zazov, it's Zazov's world and you have to live with his vision of it. So what I'm trying to tell you is, my strategy of getting on his stern doesn't apply. He's a third rate, I'm a third rate. Yes, he has more firepower. Yes, he has more hit points, but he's not a second rate like the Christian. He does have more crew though. So what you're gonna see is how to defeat a boarding attempt. This was clever. D-Moore, this was very clever of D-Moore. Alright, my speed is 3.2 knots. If you are below 3.5 knots and in a certain range, and he is below 3.5 knots, this can happen. You see the yellow pulling? He's trying to pull me. Now, I don't want to fight a boarding action, but I'm getting my prep up. But I also got my sails up. And that puts me above 3.5 knots, which means I broke the pull. He can't pull me anymore. And I continue to just brawl it out. I'm in Awasa. He's in a Redotab. We're both third rates. I'm okay brawling this guy. You don't want to brawl with a second rate, but I'll brawl with him. Now, I still turn faster than he does. And I still have the beautiful Wasa sailing profile where I can just go upwind at an extreme angle. It's one of the beautiful things about the Wasa. Always has been. Now, the trade-off is you don't have a lot of firepower or crew. So Wasa has drawbacks. Be aware of that. If you're in this situation, you want to use that against me, if you can. Like he just tried. He tried to board me. I applaud D-Moore there. That was a good move. That was exactly what you want to try to do. Unfortunately, I saw it coming, and I got speed up. So the only thing D-Moore could have done better is try to press into me. However, that I don't think he had that option. The Redotabs, the bigger third rates, they really struggle going upwind. They can't keep much speed or maneuverability when they're high into the wind. The Wasa can. Just clinical note, keep that in mind. You notice the fleet ship is doing next to nothing. So D-Moore has decided to chain me, which is probably a good move, because, well, maneuverability and speed and upwind sailing, that's my strength. There's just one problem. He hasn't done any hull damage, so once again, I don't have to choose between hull or sail. And he's at full sail, so I'm gonna line up a nice chain shot here. Because, you know, if he's going to throw chain, I might as well throw some chain. So alright, so look at our two ships. We've both been chained. The difference, though, is I don't have much hull damage. He's 55% on his right side. Now, he doesn't need to hull rep yet, but he just got chained hard, and you better believe I'm going to go back to working on his hull hit points. And this is why you don't bring fleet ships, guys. They're practically useless. It's just, I mean, if I had buddies near, oh, he's chaining again. The problem, here's the thing. If you see I'm sail repping, which he should have seen, you don't chain somebody when they're sail repping, unless you just have tons of players there and you can just beat down his rep. That would work, but he doesn't have that. He has a AI, and by the way, AI sometimes land their chain shots, but I've had them shoot over me so many times it's just pathetic. It's disgusting how bad fleet AI is. And it's really bad that the interface, you can't give them good orders. They do the dumbest things. I hate fleet AI. Now, he did a good move here. He loaded ball. His upper gun shot over my deck. He's still loading the middle tier, mid decks and bottom decks. So we're side to side. I want to be side to side because that's his weak side. But this is what you want to do. You want to pound down a broadside. The only thing is, I sail repped already. So my rep timer is counting down. I will be able to repair again in another 8 or so minutes. I'm going to turn away and try to mitigate a little bit of the damage from his bottom guns. And since I'm getting a little ahead of him, I'm loading charge. And that AI is just putting shots all over the place. Do not bring AI into a PvP fight expecting them to do anything. Also, do not join a fight where, like in the last battle, I had the AI on my side. Don't expect that to help you either. It's just not going to happen. Okay, still mitigating, still getting my charge fully loaded. Seymour is going to pull a good move. He's upwind of me, and he's seeing that I'm going to continue damaging his right side. This is a great move. Gets his bow chasers into my sails. Great move. It also puts his undamaged side to me. Seymour is making good moves here, and I applaud him for that. That's exactly what you should do. Fight with your strong side. Now the only problem is that's my strong side too, and he's giving up wind position. The only thing he could have done, and probably what I would have done, is instead of turning right and going downwind of me, I would have tacked. I would have turned left, presented my stern once, which would not kill you. It would open up the stern, do a little hull structure damage, but it would have maintained the wind position. And gotten his strong right side onto my strong right side. But see, it would have kept me downwind. And I have much less options when I'm downwind. I pretty much have to shoot your bow or your broadside. I don't have the game that I want. Now, he's gonna shoot. That's fine. I have a great turn rate. The wind appears to be in my favor now. So, I have just attained the desirable position of being able to come at whatever side I want. Yes, it's true. That's my weak left side. But I'm angled against him. I'm teak. I'm now in a very comfortable position where the Wassa excels. It's just, you gotta learn your ships. You gotta learn how they sail. You gotta learn how to use them. And you're about to see me employ a strategy that I really love about the Wassa. I call it snowing. Snowing is what the snow is a tiny little 6 rate that could just spin in circles and put broadside upon broadside into its target. It would literally sail past you, do a complete 180 in next to no time, and put another broadside into you. And I'm going to be doing that in a wassa. I'm tacking through the wind, so I have the wind. Just going to wait here for the boffin to shoot. There. And I do take a little structure damage, but it's okay. Spread the sails in the direction of my turn. Spread the yards. Reverse the rudder. Fire from stern. Fire parallel. When you're turning and shooting, you want to be parallel. If you aren't, then your front guns are going to angle toward the back and they fly past the stern. So, pro tip there. If you're firing while you're turning, set your convergence to parallel. You're going to get more hits in. So now the roles are reversed. I have the wind on him. His AI is downwind, and AI always struggle when they're, well, they just struggle all the time. Oh, Zazzy. Oh, should notice, in the new update, the AI have improved combat abilities, which basically means they don't turn circles and they throw a lot more chains. Chain shot. I mean, every other broadside is going to be chain. It's disgusting, but since they have unlimited chain and ammo and stuff, yeah. Alright. He had a strong side. He's actually repping right now, which he's got some pretty good reps going, so I'm pretty sure D-Moore is running Carpenter perks or something, because that's a fairly strong rep. I'm just pausing here to get my double shot loaded, because he's gaining hit points back and I'm going to have to beat him down again. But what I see is a stern that's open. And I'm just going to, and yes, I am going to give up the wind. That's the downside of a stern rake, is it forces you to neutralize your position. But don't be afraid of that, just understand it. I need to do some hull damage to this guy because he's got good repair. So if I do some structure damage, that's gonna help. Because you don't get structure damage, you don't get to repair your structure as much as you repair your sides. That said, so technically I'm below him in the wind, but it's a wassa. So I haven't, this is the first time I've PvP'd in wassa in the new meta since I came back in a couple months ago. So I'm really enjoying the strength of the wassa here. Now, it's basically strong side to strong side again. And we're pretty even. He has a little more hit points. Well, I have more damage. And I started thinking about this and going, you know, a fire would be unlucky. So I'm going to tack through the wind. He wore. He came downwind. Once again, it might have been better for him to tack. But, anyway. if he had tacked and then I did this tack, he could have, well, I don't know. So my sail is so much better than his sail. I forced him to have to do a hull rep instead of a sail rep. So the option of him tacking and then getting to me and boarding me, which was what he wanted to fight in the first place, not really an option I think he has, since I decided to hurt his hull and his sails. So I'm repairing now. And his repair is over, so all I really am focusing on is get angled, bounce the shots, which you see them bouncing off and hitting the ocean there. That's what I want to do. If you have a ship that turns well, you want to set your woods as teak, because you can mitigate a lot of damage just by angling. Now, if you're a ship that doesn't turn so well, I think there's some better woods there and better upgrades to go for. Now, speaking of upgrades, because I want to get back to addressing the CFS issue. Any player who runs multiple trade accounts in this game simultaneously, Mr. Zazov, because nobody just logs in one trade account at a time. It would take too much time out of our lives. We run multiple trade accounts simultaneously. I run trade accounts simultaneously while grinding doubloons. It's not hard to do. So, any player in Naval Action that runs multiple trade accounts currently can afford to buy the rare woods and the upgrades and the rare guns that give them an amazing advantage in PvP. They're not using skill, they're just doing the most brain-dead mechanic out there for economy, so that they can have brain-dead PvP wins. I don't understand it, I don't get it, I don't like it. But that's CFS for you. As a whole, now, there are some very good CFS players, and they have port battle commanders who I couldn't even dream of comparing to. But, as a whole, most of the people I see on now are not very good at PvP. They just have either numbers so that they can win because they can darken the sky with chain and ball you down because they don't have the repair, or they have good upgrades and good woods, which makes it so that they don't have to be very good. They don't have to win because they made fewer mistakes. They can just make all the mistakes they want and reprint their ship with their Navy carpenters. It's really that darn simple. Or they don't repair because they have so many friends on their side, they just run out and let somebody else take their spot because they've chained you down to 50% sail, and there's literally no way you're going to chase down the wounded guy that you fought. It's fine. That's the smart, safe way to play a PvP game, but don't come into global chat trying to smack talk the Irate Pirate when 99.8% of all my combat has been in regular wood ships with regular upgrades, doing what every other average gamer can do. I've never had access really to rare guns. Actually, to set the record straight, last year, 2024, before he killed off the war server, I finally started running rare gun ships. So I've been playing since 2019, and 2024 was the first time I put rare guns on a ship. Most of them I gave away to other players who needed that kind of an advantage, because at that point we had between 20 and 50 people on the war server, and I was in charge of Pirate Nation, trying to defend Pirate Nation ports from the other 20 people who played the game. So you take what you can when you have a tiny community, a pool of players to pull from. Now, I'm just illustrating that you should not, if you're going to make comparisons, fine. If you're going to call yourself a great PvPer, fine. But you need to understand some of us actually have skill. We've compensated for our poverty with skill, whereas you're compensating for your skill by being wealthy and breaking the economics of the game. The two are not the same. That's all I'm saying. I'm not disparaging CFS in their decision. You break the game's economy all you want. I do that too. What I don't do is I don't go out there telling other PvPers that they are inferior to me when I'm winning due to gear. Now, that said, I need to talk to D Moore and Iceberg 63. Even though they have superior firepower and superior ships, which should give them the advantage, I have 10,000 PvP hours in this game. I don't think they do. So, it is a little bit seal clubby and unfair, but it just means I spent the time to get good. And frankly, not very many people want to do that, and I don't blame them for it. It takes a lot of work to follow Mr. Zazov's changes and to discover the mechanics on your own. It's kind of sucky for Iceberg 63 and D Moore, but that's why I'm making this YouTube, and this is why I'm narrating 2 whole fights. Yes, I have knowledge. Yes, I fight people who don't have knowledge, but I can't really choose who I fight. I see a battle, I get a battle rating, I don't get a name. I don't get to say, oh, it's D Moore, I'm gonna leave him alone because he's really not my level. We don't have skill rating in this game like we do in other PvP games. And if I found D Moore and Iceberg again, I'd still fight him because, well, there's just not a lot of other options. And some people irritated me by making fun of the fact that I was number 10 on the PvP leaderboard. Always be aware of your surroundings, guys. I popped out saw the Boppin there and went, I don't want to ram him and lose my bowsprit. So, turned up into the wind, going to go past him. Pretty apparent that D-Moore is going to sink, and now I have to think about, do I want to capture the Boppin and escape to port? And I'm thinking about it because I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of gunpowder ball and chain and whatnot there. So it'd be cool. But I didn't game this out right. The Boppin is close, but I have to tack through the wind and get up to D-Moore before he sinks. And I'm kind of hoping that the Boppin will surrender when D-Moore sinks, but I'm not. Yeah, I'm right now asking people in my Discord if they think that will happen. Because that's what happens on trade ships. If you kill the player and his trade ships can't escape, they surrender. That Boppin isn't a trade ship though, so I'm not sure if that mechanic applies. Anyway, getting back to the issue of skill. The dev does not teach players the little mechanics of the graphical user interface. He doesn't teach them. There's a lot of things we have to constantly relearn. And that's the biggest gripe that I have with Naval Action. Every single update does not tweak the game and improve upon it. It radically alters it. There's changes coming with a new update that radically alter the game and radically alter combat, and it's going to make people quit. I'm already talking to people who are testing it on the test server with me, and they're saying, no, we don't like this. I'm not sure I'm going to play this game. Mr. Zazov is a genius, though. It's his world, and if you're going to play the game, you've got to play it the way he designed it, because he's a genius. Okay? And it's his business, and he is so good at business and so good at encouraging people to try his new update that I am sure he's going to release the Halloween event with the new update and encourage 1,200 people to get back into the game. And we will see 1,200 people back in the game. We will have the update spike that Naval Action always has when it sees an update. And then over a period of 2 to 3 weeks, the numbers are going to start going down. Within 5 weeks, the numbers will be lower than they were prior to the update, because Mr. Zazov is a genius. Hey guys, I run my own business too, and let me tell you a little secret about running businesses. Boring is good. Being consistent is a key to success. Offer a good standardized product that's consistent. Yes, it may be boring, but you don't want to radically change your business, your product, every 3 months. You want people to be able to rely on a consistent experience. You can be consistently average. You can be consistently below average. You can be consistently great. You can be consistently above average. It doesn't matter. The biggest thing to succeeding as a business person is offer an experience that customers can rely on. Because the last thing a customer wants to do is wonder if they're going to waste money on your service or product. They need to know what they're getting. Not everybody needs the greatest product. So the Wappen is retreating, so he's not going to surrender. And I made the decision to loot. I'm going to double check and make sure there's nothing else there. And this fight is over. So, I know it's been a long video. I know it's been clinical. I hope it helps somebody enjoy this game more. And I really hope some of you will take my message to Mr. Zazov, because he's banned me. He doesn't want to listen to what I say. I really hope someone will explain to Mr. Zazov that we don't need the combat mechanic radically altered. We don't need leaks requiring you to put 400 to 600 men on damage control just to keep 17 leaks from sinking you. We don't need that. The threshold used to be 30 leaks to sink a third rate, 40 or 50 leaks to sink a first rate. So, that was a hard threshold to achieve. It's considerably less now. This is devastating. This is going to be bad. And it's not just that, but the way Zazov has changed crew allocation, where when you get leaks, you have to turn off your guns and manually change all that. You know, when you want to repair, you have to manually shunt crew over. They don't just go over automatically. His whole crew allocation mechanic frustrates the daylights out of me. I really despise what he did to it. And these are aggravating little changes that are going to kill his game. Players have left over this. The gunpowder changes have irritated players, but I'm okay with the gunpowder changes. Now, I would prefer that you had a maximum gunpowder hold. I mean, the fact that I can fill my entire ship up with ammunition is just ridiculous. I have 600-700 guys here. Hold is for food, rations, repairs, stuff like that. Not just... Oh my goodness. A sailing ship couldn't just load itself to the gills with ammo like this. It would, one, be dangerous. All the ammo stayed in a special magazine. Because blowing yourself up was a real problem. So, I would like to see ships limited to, say, 75 broadsides or 100 broadsides. And you can pick, and I would like to see the consumables have a slider so that you can pick 10 broadsides of chain, X amount of broadsides of ball, X amount of broadsides of... and charge needs to go away. Charge shot is ridiculous. You overcharge any gun, and it's just going to blow up on you and kill crew and start fires. You don't overcharge a gun. You definitely don't put twice the amount of powder in. That's just ridiculous. Guys, it's so ridiculous. I shouldn't even need to tell people this, but Mr. Zazov is a highly educated genius here. Anyway, guys, this fight's over. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you've enjoyed this mostly harmless entertainment.